Hello everyone, my name's Katrina, it is Pride Month, and so today I'm going to be sharing some LGBTQIAP+ book recommendations. I wanted to start out by talking about a few Own Voices books, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term, Own Voices means that a marginalised author shares some or all aspects of their identity with their main characters. I just think it's so important to highlight books that do have an authentic representation that comes from the author's personal experiences, but also I think it's really important to uplift and support marginalized authors as well, because we need their voices out in the world and in literature, so I thought I would talk about some of those books today. I also wanted to talk about a few books that aren't considered own voices because A, not every author openly discusses their sexuality, and they absolutely have every right to choose when and where they discuss something that's so personal, so we're not going to know about every single book that is technically own voices. And B, I love these books and would recommend them, so I wanted to talk about them and share the love in this video. Let's begin, why don't we? The first book I wanted to talk about today is a middle grade, but I think everybody should read it, no matter what age, because I think the messaging is just so important and it was a beautiful book, and that is George by Alex Gino. This is about a young transgender girl named George, but she does prefer to go by Melissa, and all of her family, friends and classmates see her as a boy. So this is about her exploring her identity and finding acceptance from everybody she knows when she does come out, and the main kind of catalyst for a lot of the events in here is that there is going to be a school play for Charlotte's Web, and Melissa wants to play Charlotte. This was just such a beautiful book. It was so sweet. It's so short as well, like if you just have a spare couple of hours, pick this up and whiz through it. I just love how positive and moving this book was, and like I said, would recommend this to anyone at any age. I read this a few years ago and I don't often read middle grade, but this was just such a delight. I also have a couple of Adam Silvera books because they are intensely powerful books. I just get so emotionally attached to the characters and they make me feel all of the feels. And the two books I'm going to be talking about are the only two books I've read by Adam Silvera so far, and they are More Happy Than Not and They Both Die at the End. Both of these books feature Own Voices gay representation, and we also have some Own Voices Puerto Rican representation as well. This one also has another main character who is bisexual. More Happy Than Not has a small sci-fi aspect to it, but it does read like a contemporary novel. Basically, there is this procedure where you can remove people's memories or parts of their memory. The main character, Aaron, has never felt any desire to undergo this procedure. He's pretty content with life, but then something happens. He meets this guy and starts to develop feelings for him. Aaron is feeling quite conflicted. He's confused. He doesn't know what to do. He's got such a perfect relationship with his girlfriend, and yet he's developing these feelings for another guy. And so he starts to consider maybe this procedure isn't such a bad idea. They Both Die at the End also has a bit of a similar genre. There is this kind of sci-fi aspect to it, but again reads like a contemporary. Now in this book there is this company called Deathcast, and they're able to tell when people are going to die. So on the day that someone dies, they will receive a call from Deathcast telling them they have less than 24 hours left to live and to sort out all of their affairs, live the last day of their life to the fullest. We follow two characters, Mateo and Rufus, who both receive a call from Deathcast, and they decide to live their last day with someone else who has also been Deathcast, and that's how the two of them meet. They find each other through this app called Last Friends, and it's about them spending their last day together. Now the title tells you how this is going to end. It is an emotional book, let me just tell you. Adam Silvera has a bit of a reputation for writing really emotional, hard-hitting books, so just be forewarned. Maybe have a box of tissues with you just in case you're an emotional sock like me. But these were both really fantastic books and I couldn't recommend them enough. Next is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire Sainz, which has Own Voices gay representation as well as, I believe, Own Voices Latino rep as well. This one is just such a beautiful story. It's about Aristotle and Dante, these two boys that meet and develop a really special bond as friends, and then something more. It's great. I love this book. I've read it a couple of times. I've listened to the audiobook as well, which is narrated by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it was also fantastic, so I would recommend the audiobook. I've done a review of this one with Ariel Bassett. We did a video on her channel, so I'll go and look for that video and link that down below too. This next one is an honorable mention because I haven't actually finished reading the book yet. I am over halfway through, thoroughly enjoying it so far. I just feel like I can't tell you my overall thoughts on the book as a whole because I haven't finished it yet, so who knows, like I might hate the ending, but I have a feeling I'm still going to really enjoy the book by the end. But that book is Not Your Sidekick by C.B. Lee. With this one we have own voices bisexual as well as Asian American representation in it, and one of the things I love the most about this book is the romance. That's why I really wanted to include it and just mention it in this video, because it is the sweetest thing. Like every time we have scenes with these two characters together, it makes my heart sing, like absolutely sing. Like I could just have a contemporary story about these two characters and the cuteness that we see between them. But we also get to see some cool superhero stuff in here too, which is awesome. So this is set in the future after World War III. Shit has happened. People are now displaying super abilities, which is cool. The main character wants to become a hero so badly, and she's almost towards the end of her teenage years and hasn't yet shown any signs of having any powers. Great story in that respect, but also really, really, really love the romance. It's so cute. It's a female-female romance in here, but like I said, main character is bisexual. So those were the own voices books that I want to talk about, and I do want to acknowledge that the majority here features gay male authors, and I do really want to make an effort to try and read some own voices books from marginalized authors that do identify differently. So if you do have any own voices recommendations other than male-male romances, please leave those in the comment section below, because I'm definitely looking for more. Now let's move on to the last set of books, which are not, that we know of, own voices rep. First of all, I have a series, and that is the Wayward Children series by Shonen Maguire. In book 1, Every Heart a Doorway, we have an asexual main character. In book 2, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, we have a main character who I think is a lesbian. I can't remember if that label is used, but she is in a female-female romance. And then book 3, Beneath the Sugar Sky, the main character, actually we see fat representation, but we do still see one of the side characters popping up in book 3 who is transgender, so I just wanted to pop this on the end here. This is a series of novellas that are portal fantasies. It's about a school for children who have stepped through a doorway into a fantastical world that they feel like they belong to, and when they're kind of dragged back to the earth that we know, they are really struggling to readjust, because for one reason or another they don't feel like they belong, or they experience a lot of judgment and prejudice, so they're kind of searching for their way back. So that's kind of the premise of book 1, and then we do follow different characters throughout the series. They are companion novellas. Would highly recommend. The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. The main character is bisexual. We also have 2 other side characters, one of which is gay and the other is asexual, and we're getting a companion story about said asexual character, Felicity, I believe it is. The Lady's Guide to Something and Something. This is a historical novel. There's some like fantastical elements sprinkled in there as well, about Monty, who goes on a grand tour through Europe with his best friend and sister, and things kind of get derailed along the way. Next up, we have one of my favorite series of all time, and that is The Nevernight Chronicle by J. Kristoff. The main character, Mia, is bisexual. So in book 1, we see some very subtle hints, and then with one of the side characters, some less subtle hints about what their sexual preferences are. But in God's Grave, book 2, this is where we get to see Mia exploring her sexuality, and it really amps up in this one. So I'm here for it. The Nevernight Chronicle is a fantasy series. Mia is basically looking to seek revenge. Her father was executed for treason, and Mia wants to kill the 3 men responsible for her father's death. So she decides to do things properly and goes and joins a school for assassins. The last book that I'm going to be talking about today is My Favorite Thing is Monsters by Emile Ferris. The main character, Karen, is a young biracial girl. She is poor and no labels are used, but she does talk about having feelings for another girl. This is a graphic novel diary. It is absolutely fantastic. The illustrations are amazing. It is set in Chicago in the 1960s, and it's a murder mystery. Like, one of Karen's neighbors dies. It's ruled as a suicide, but Karen is a little bit suspicious, so she goes digging for clues and tries to investigate the circumstances surrounding this woman's death. So that concludes this recommendation video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as I mentioned earlier, I would absolutely love to hear about any books you would like to recommend, especially if they are own voices. I do really want to read a little more widely in terms of books with LGBTQIP+ rep in them. Looking at my TBR pile, like, I do have quite a few already here that I own that I'm really excited to get to, but just haven't had the chance to pick up just yet. So yeah, I look forward to seeing your recommendations in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you very soon in a new video, but until then, I will talk in the comments. Bye!